So for those of you that just joined us, I'm Dr. Amy Owen, and I will be your guide for World Regional Geography. It's my pleasure. I'm so happy you're here. I'm glad to be here with you. So let's start out with an apple. No. Say hi, class.
Hi.
And it's Monday morning in Guam. And actually it's not raining. We had a few typhoons go by us, and so we're in the clear weather now. Beautiful day. So what we're going to do first is do a little bit of talking about maps. So what we have behind me is a map. And as you can see, that is a flat map. So what I want you to understand is this map is distorted. And in order to understand map distortion, we can use our apple. Now, as you can see, this apple is round. And if we took a knife and we were to start carving off its skin, we would keep carving it round and round and round. If we did it perfectly, it would be all one strand, wouldn't it? And then we could put it down on a table and smash it flat onto the table. But what would happen? Would it be all a nice red rectangle?
No.
No. What would it look like? It would have gaps in it, wouldn't it? Yes. So this map right here, it's the world. It's a representation of the world. And as I said before, all of geography is really mental mapping. What we're doing is we are making a mental map of the world. And so we're doing the same thing with maps. So this is a representation. So what we're doing is we're making something round that is flat. So what part do you think would be the most distorted? If you think back to the apple and how we made a round thing flat, what parts of this map are going to be the most distorted, do you think? The poles, exactly. So there's a lot of map distortion there. So we have longitude, which are the lines that go up and down, north to south. We have latitude, those are the lines that go, this is the major line at the equator, and then we have latitude lines above the equator, where it gets colder and colder and colder as you go north, and we have latitude lines below the equator, where it gets colder and colder and colder as you go south. So that's just a little bit of basics for understanding our map of the world. And as I said, we're going to look at the regions as flexible. These are people that got together, and these are the regions as are generally decided on by the world right now. So we're going to cover Europe as our first region that we'll talk about, and we'll start with that today. So as you can see, Europe is central in the world map. But again, some geographers had to get together to decide this, right? So the book says Europe is in, and most textbooks will say this too, Europe is in a very central location. While that's true, who is it central to? Because you could make this the central location, or you could make this. You could make anywhere. You could make where we are right now the central location in Oceania. So it is central. It does have water around most of the sides, and that's very beneficial for trade. Notice how Eurasia here consists of a few regions. And so there's a boundary between Europe and Asia. So this boundary, what kind of a boundary is that? Is it a physical boundary? No, it's a political boundary. So there's a political line, and again, it's only decided on by people. It can change. And in fact, the boundary of Europe has been shifting more and more and more over towards the east. So that's Europe. And it is very fortunate to have a lot of water surrounding it. Okay, so as far as early civilizations, do you think that Europe had the first civilizations in the world?
Maybe.
Maybe. So where did people come from originally? The oldest bones using carbon dating. Where were they found?
Africa.
Africa, good. So people came out of Africa, but they're doing genetic tracing now, and there's some really exciting new research that is showing us that everything we thought about where people went and first civilizations might be wrong. That in fact civilizations might go way, 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 way back in time. And at the current moment, the earliest ones are found in China. So we will talk about early civilizations. There are some great civilizations that were developed in Europe. Many things were developed in Europe. So we had the Greeks, then the Romans, right around the time of Christ. And that's really when our Christian calendar starts, which is the calendar used in much of the world right now. The year 0 would be the year that Christ was born. So then we had Ottoman Empire, where a lot of Europe had Muslim religion introduced into it. So a lot has happened in Europe.